what is in the actual agreement on the question of food production and food security, and if you could tell us a little bit about what the implications might be for Ireland.
Yeah. Thanks, Ryan. Obviously, I think John told you that the 1.5 degree goal is so ambitious that if we're going to achieve it, we really have to look at everything. And because Ireland makes up 1/3 of our emissions are comprised from agriculture, that includes agriculture. Now, I wanted to come home from COP21 and talk about transport and electricity and buildings and how we reduce emissions from those right away, because those are the quicker wins than agriculture. But I was really disappointed when I came home and saw that all of our leadership was just referring to agriculture once again, and particularly saying things like on Monday when Simon Coveney was referring to the Paris Agreement, he said that no rethink of the state food plan is required. But that's just impossible given the level of ambition that we've agreed to in Paris. What I noticed in the press that our Coveney and people like Minister Alan Kelly were saying is that they kept referencing this text in the agreement on food production. And their interpretation of that was that it was a free pass to ramp up food production in line with our Food Harvest 2020 and Foodwise 2025 ambitions. But when you look at Article 2, and I think John showed you Part A of Article 2, but this is in reference to Part B of Article 2, and I'll quote it now because they're only looking at the last two words, which are food production, and they're missing all the words before that. So Article 2B aims to increase the ability to adapt to the adverse impacts of climate change and foster climate resilience and low greenhouse gas emissions in a manner that does not threaten food production. That paragraph is about resilience, about coping with climate shock. It's not about increasing food production for the sake of increasing food production. And I think it's really important that we call our leadership out on their misinterpretation of that. The other place that food is referenced in the agreement is in the preamble, which is supposed to be used as a means to interpret the agreement. And in that case, it's referred to as food security. So Minister Alan Kelly, when he came back from COP, said that because food security is referenced in the agreement, that we therefore have the obligation in Ireland to increase our food production to feed a global population. But let's think about what food security really is. Food security is about providing supply and, even more importantly, access to nutritious food for the world's population. And what do we produce in Ireland? Well, we produce beef, which the WHO now says we should be reducing our intake of because of health reasons. And we produce dairy, which is increasingly going to furnish a Chinese market for infant formula. So Ireland does not contribute to food security. And we produce a great product, and we should be honest about that, and we should be proud of it, but we need to be honest about the fact that we're not feeding the world's hungry with that product. Even Minister Coveney has said that we're producing a premium product for premium markets. That's what we're doing. We're not contributing to food security, and therefore this isn't a free pass to keep going the way we're going. It's annoying me that leaders are using those two references as a loophole in agriculture. And I think this week's flooding, or last week's flooding here in Ireland, shows that resilience to climate change in agriculture is as important to us as it is to the developing world. Farmers, I know small farmers in my experience, are looking for diversification. They don't want to be beholden to volatile prices in the dairy industry. They certainly don't want to be at the mercy of very low or unprofitable margins in the beef industry. And they're looking for that diversification, but yet our leadership keeps talking about ramping up food production, which to me just shows that they're only speaking for big agribusiness and not for the small farmers. So I think the take-home message, I hope, is that there's definitely a clear misinterpretation of the text already happening in Ireland. And it's beyond me why our leadership is not looking at our farmers' income and the fact that they're being increasingly squeezed, and instead focusing on this need to just keep ramping up production for a few big agri-producers.
Okay.